Good morning.
Good morning. I'm getting ready on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm getting my tea ready.
Yeah, I got my little coffee here.
I woke up to quite the news this morning.
What news? We're streaming, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, somebody called out at work, and I was like, "Oh, that's a great thing to wake up to."
Yeah, that's
Yeah, so I was trying to find coverage, so that's been like my morning. I was like trying to be cute for this.
oh how we try. All right, let me see. I think I got it. Okay. All right, so YouTube, if you guys can see me, please say hello and let me know that you can see this. And I have to say that I don't own the rights to the music that you're listening to. It is my Pandora subscription. I will stop it in a second, but I kind of like to have a little music in the morning. So let me just make sure that YouTube is working. If anyone's watching me on YouTube, if you can just say hi, then I know that you're watching and that you can see this. That would be awesome. Because me always trying to stream to stuff, it's like, it's hit or miss. So those of you that are on Zoom, please feel free to get yourself a cup of coffee or tea, settle in. We're going to get started in a second. I'm just making sure that I am streaming properly. I'm so excited. I have a very light day today, which is important because I've been going. Yeah, Rachel's like, yeah. Hi, Teresa. I can see you.
Hi.
All right, whoever has their TV on, we're going to ask you to mute or take your TV off. Okay. Oh, so Rachel sees me. Igor, you see and hear me. Perfect. Oh, good. Yay. Very excited. Thank you, guys. Thank you, YouTube. I'll be checking in with you just to see. Enda, you can see me. Perfect. Thank you. So I will be checking in with you guys every now and then just to see if you leave any comments or questions in the chat. And I will get to them as best as I can. Okay. And for those of you that are watching me on YouTube, you might see some people on here with me. And I want to tell you that they are part of my Lotus Academy, which is a closed Facebook group on Facebook. It's where I do free readings every morning. And, you know, you get member benefits like things like this. You can join me on my Zoom calls and whatever. So I'm just going to drop the information there if you'd like to check it out. It's only $33 that will pay from now until April 30th next year. So you get to be in that group for literally less than $1 a day and get free readings and educational talks and member benefits as well. So I hope you guys can come join us in the Lotus Academy on Facebook. I'm very excited about that group. It's my first paid membership group and we're having a ball. So thank you guys. All right. Now, demystifying the soulmate relationship. Let me tell you, this has been a headache more than it's worked. Because when I started, I don't know about you guys, but you probably heard about the whole soulmate thing. Like once you started coming to the metaphysical path, like I did, you know, I didn't really have a rhyme or reason about it. Even when I was a kid growing up, I never was like, oh, I want to meet my soulmate. If you know me by now, you know I'm just kind of like all about me, right? I'm just like about my path, my vision. So this whole soulmate thing never occurred to me until I started learning about it. And then you guys know that I talk very openly about my relationships and stuff like that, because I like the idea. I like the fact that I have dated and been in over 30 relationships. And I have had many more partners than that. And I'm not ashamed of it. I like to talk about it because to me, experience is what leads to wisdom, because experience gives you the knowledge, and then knowledge coupled with experience gives you wisdom. So this is why it's being in the relationships that I've been in over time. It's really interesting because it's grown me as a person. And now it's like, if I go through a breakup, yes, I'm going to mourn. I'm going to grieve. Of course, that person you're going to mourn, but you kind of like know that something else, you've kind of lived this, you've lived this a while. So you just know, like, don't get hung up on whoever it is that you're hung up on, because take the time to grieve and the next person comes along. And yes, Deborah, experience provides growth opportunity. Exactly. So I'm sharing this information and my personal information because the one thing that really hurts my heart, and I have to say women in particular, because that's who I work with the most, is when I see women really get like down and out about like one person, one single person. And I'm like, there's so many other persons out there. In fact, do you know that I have literally dated, out of all the relationships, I have been in contact and dated 10 of my soulmates. Yeah. And a soulmate relationship is different than a regular relationship. And we'll talk about that. So that's what I'm trying to say. If you have limited experience in a thing, then when that thing doesn't work out, you tend to feel very, very like downtrodden or depressed, or like, I can't move on. This person was my everything. No, they're not. I'm here to tell you, no, they're not. Okay. There's many, many things that can contribute to you having a successful, wonderful life. And I'm hoping that by today, that after we talk about these relationships, that you don't leave with a sense of longing. I'm hoping that you actually leave feeling empowered to live your life and to say, gosh, if I just keep doing the right things, whoever that person is will find me. And then even if that doesn't work out, I trust and believe that something else will come along and it'll be better or more in alignment with my needs. So that's pretty much what I want to talk about. Okay, so YouTube, you're still with me. Hi, Penny. Hi, Brienne. Very good. Awesome. So let's talk about the different kinds of relationships. So how did this whole thing come about, soulmate relationships? Well, way back in the day with like Greek mythology, it was said that people were actually one person. There was two people, and then the gods, I don't know, maybe it was like Friday night games night. We don't know what happened, but they split them. They split them down the middle. So two people, and they were like taken to the opposite ends of the earth, and they have to find their way back to each other to become one. And that's that whole premise of I'm not complete until I find my soulmate, and things of that nature. Now, there's so many parts of that story that is not credible, or that can be argued against. Like for me, I don't necessarily believe that. I don't believe that I need another person to complete me. But I do believe that each of us have that masculine and feminine principle. And it's a marrying of the two. When you're able to embody your masculine and feminine principle within yourself, that to me is the completion. Now, that's just my opinion. Okay. If you have the opinion that you need, like if you're a woman, you need the masculine energy to come in and complete you, or if you're a man, you need the feminine energy to come in and complete you, you are absolutely right in your belief, and I will not challenge that. I'm just sharing a different belief system, which is that we don't actually need a person, but we need to marry the two within us, which is the masculine or feminine concepts. What we have seen in the community is a real breakdown of what was supposed to be something that was empowering and uplifting. And it's come down to a lot of people chasing people or pining for people or claiming that this person's their soulmate or twin flame or whatever, and then not living their lives purposely. So the first thing I want to start with is think about this from a larger perspective. you as a soul, you have lived thousands of lifetimes. Do you think that you as a soul came to this lifetime looking for that one person, or not able to survive or really level up to your best abilities because you haven't found that one person? I don't think that's how it works. Now, I know it's fun to watch. Listen, I'm a big fan of Outlander. Okay. Love it. Love it. Love the whole Jamie Claire dynamic and how they find each other through timelines. Love it. Absolutely love it. But realistically, does it apply? Probably not. Okay. And the thing is that when you look at a movie like that, it's very, it's nice to watch. It's nice to indulge in fantasy sometimes, but it's almost like they can't survive without each other. And that's what we have all been living on. For most of us, we grew up with the Cinderella and the Snow White stories, being told that we need this other person to complete us, or that we can't do it alone. So understand that we are fighting these programmings that have been placed from a very, very long time ago. And if we keep defending these programmings, then we will keep living in this state of want, right? Because then we don't feel complete. The truth is we're very much complete. Now, well, I'll get to that in a second. How to attract like a soulmate relationship. I will totally get to that at the end. Let's dive into the different types of relationships. So the first kind of relationship there is what we know as the soulmate relationship. The soulmate relationship is somebody that you have known from a past lifetime. So when you meet this person, they just feel comfortable to you. Okay. They feel like you know them. You've known them for a long time. You feel very comfortable. Your first conversation might be 2 hours, and you have a lot of similarities. When you go out on your first date, or you have that first sleepover, it's like you guys are like husband and wife. You just kind of marry into that very easily. That is a soulmate relationship. Now, why do we have soulmates? Soulmates are part of your soul group, and they come in to help you and to be there for you in your moment of need. Okay. So you can marry a soulmate. You can live your life with a soulmate. Absolutely. And it tends to be, from what I've seen, a very comfortable relationship. You each take care of each other. You each, you have your regular schedules. You kind of like live in and out. How is the sex? How is the love? It's okay. Okay. It's good. There's nothing like fancy about it. There's nothing death-defying about it. It's just comfortable. Everything is really comfortable with soulmates. What a soulmate does is they don't really push you or grow you. They're here to provide comfort for you. Okay. So when you get a soulmate, it's kind of like, thank God, because I've been, the world's pushing me, and I'm having stress everywhere. It's nice to have somebody that's kind of like your safe harbor, if that makes sense. Now, there's a quite different relationship to a soulmate relationship, but yet is still steeped in your past. And that is called an karmic relationship. So I'm just checking on YouTube. Any questions? Okay. So Igor says, I'm doing great. Wonderful. Katrina says, right on with embodiment of the masculine and feminine. Of course, my little Sagittarius would love that. Awesome. So let me tell you about a karmic relationship. A karmic relationship is a little bit more dramatic. And we call it a karmic relationship because there means that karma is owed. So if you killed a man last lifetime, this man's going to come back and give your life crazy hell. Okay. No doubts about it. And you're kind of like, oh my gosh, why is this happening? Now, karmic relationships clearly are meant to just be short-lived, because again, your soul is not sadistic. It didn't sign up and said, well, I, in a moment of passion, killed this man in a past lifetime. I'm not going to come here and subject myself to 30 years of horror, right? It doesn't work that way. Your soul's kind of like, let's meet him. Let's move on from it. Let's move on. Let's keep it going. I saw something coming in the chat. These karmic obese can be a real doozy. Oh, karmic ones. Yes. Yes. And the problem for me with karmic relationships is that there are a lot of people currently in karmic relationships that are calling it twin flame. And that's the problem. So Deb says, I think I married a karmic relationship and it sucked. It could be. It could be. Absolutely. You know, with a karmic relationship, it's like you guys just don't line up. And that's why the sex and the passion is so awesome, because it's almost like you hate each other. You hate each other, but you keep doing it. And it feels good to do it because it's messed up in your head. So that's the push pull that you see in karmic relationships. And that's why a lot of people right now that are claiming they're in twin flame relationships are not. They're more than likely in a karmic relationship. It should end. It's supposed to end, but the two of them just keep doing this dance and coming back in and out of it. And what you find with karmic relationships is that the people who tend to have this pursue on for like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, they're not doing their self-work. Because the minute you do your self-work, you start to see the relationship for what it is. And then you're ready to get out. You're ready to just be like, it's time to get out, right? I don't need to be taking this anymore. I don't need to be in this. So for most of you, when you join on the spiritual path, you start to look at the relationships in your life. And then you say, you know what? This doesn't work for me anymore. So unfortunately, the spiritual community has gotten a bad rap for breaking up relationships. No. In the spiritual community, you start to really understand yourself more. And when you start to understand yourself more, you start to look around you and say, who here is for my best and highest good and who here is not? And that's when usually you end up leaving a karmic relationship. So with karmic relationships, they're very dramatic, very passionate. There's a lot of push-pull. There's no stability. But you feel alive. You feel like, I can't do without this person. The sex is so good. I see them and I start tingling. Yeah, you're tingling because all of your sensors is on high alert. It's fight or flight response. Okay, people, it's fight or flight. It's like, oh, I'm tingling because I'm either going to fight this person or run from this person. But we misinterpret. Because again, going back to our programming, our desire and our need and our longing is to find the one. Right? It's to find the one. So we keep like misreading the signs. Hey, I'm not immune to it. That's why I've been in 30 relationships, right? I used to make a joke and say, if a guy brought me a bouquet of red flags, I would open my door to him, say, come on in. Because the truth is that I was on that high in my 20s and my teenage years. I was on that high too, looking for all those people that instituted that kind of passion craze within me. So for the most part, karmic relationships are meant to happen. And then when they're done, and then you move on from it. And then you get a lot of healing by closing that wound. Now, karmic relationships very much mirror twin flame relationships. And that's why people feel like they're in a twin flame relationship. We even have another term for it. It's called false twins, where you feel like, oh my gosh, this is my twin. And then you come to find out this is not my twin. Right. And the interesting thing is I have been in a false twin relationship and I have been in a twin flame relationship. I am in a twin flame relationship. So the thing is that when you notice the similarities, because my ex before my current partner was a false twin. And the funny thing was, I didn't know anything about this terminology, twin flame. Hold on, I just got a comment. Yeah, exactly. Cassandra's like, I just married that bouquet of red flags. Thankful for I didn't, or I wouldn't be here today. And that's the thing. You know, for some of you, like if you were like, I married or I dated or I'm still dating that karmic relationship, that's okay. Because the whole goal of this life is not to be perfect. The whole goal of this life is to have your experiences, to own it. And then to say, you know what, I learned my lessons and I'm going to keep moving on. Oh, almost married, not just married. Got it. YouTube, is karmic negative? Oh, I just answered that. Yeah, and it's not, it's like a balancing of the scales, if you will. So we are not perfect beings. We really are not. That's why it's so important to not judge anybody in this lifetime. Because the thing is that if we judge people, we have been that person at some point in time. Okay. I just had to put up on my Facebook a post about Candace Owens because people have been calling me to like make a statement about Candace Owens. You know, she's the Black woman who is speaking out against George Floyd. And here's my thing. She just has an opinion. That's it. And I'm not going to be mad at her, or, you know, her one little opinion cannot take down the movement of Black Lives Matter, right? So, and it's very important for me not to judge her, because I'm pretty sure in some lifetime I've probably been the Candace Owen, right? So this is why it's so important for us to be open-minded about everybody that you meet. Brianne says, wow, karmic relationship explains exactly what just ended after 7 years for me. Makes so much sense. Good. Thank you, Brianne. That's what I'm hoping, is that I bring a lot of information. Okay. So the twin flame relationship now was interesting, because people say all the time that me and my partner are in twin flame relationship. But again, I'll use it every now and then, you know, depending on the circumstances, but I don't know, because the twin flame relationship, the original meaning was that when there's another word for Jesus, when he ascended, he became, good Lord, I can't remember now, but he's of the first ray. When Jesus ascended with Mary Magdalene, they're like the ultimate twin flame couple. They went up, and then they became a different name, and they saw the world was in peril. So according to the old folklore, was that he assembled 144,000 people, couples, and the number is written in the Bible, 144,000. And they came to the earth, and the whole purpose of them coming to the earth was to change the earth. That is the only one reason I would think me and my partner is a twin flame couple. Everything else, I'm kind of like, no, we're not connecting on that level. Because the true meaning of a twin flame relationship is that you and your partner are here to elevate the consciousness of the planet. So soulmate relationships, you are here to elevate each other. Twin flame relationship, you are here to elevate the consciousness of the planet. It's two people working as one to further the cause of creating a greater consciousness on the planet, right? So when I had my ex before my current partner, we very much were in sync. We were very much in sync. And a lot of people, he used to come to like a lot of my events and support me. And a lot of people were in love with him. And, you know, they would say, you guys are like the perfect twin flame couple. And I'm like, what is this twin flame couple? You know, at that time I only knew about soulmates. And they were like, so this one woman felt the need to bring me an article on what a twin flame couple was. And sure enough, we checked off all the boxes, because we were like the same, we were in the same astrological group. We were both were earth signs. We both were born in the same year. We both, when you look at our planets, they all aligned in the same sectors on our zodiac charts. We both are life path 9, me and my ex, right? Which is life path 9 as a humanitarian. We're here to, like, you know, increase the consciousness of the planet, like Gandhi and Bob Marley. So there was a lot of similarities there. So I started looking into this and I was like, this is cool. We might be a twin flame couple. But here's the problem. My ex had no interest in helping humanity. He liked the idea. He always wanted to build an orphanage for children. His heart was for children. He loved children. And he always wanted to build an orphanage. But has that man built an orphanage yet? No. Okay. He has not built an orphanage yet. So there, you know, that was the one flaw in the whole twin flame thing about me and him. So after we broke up, I met my current partner, Rob, and the energy between me and Rob was different than the energy between me and my ex. It was more calmer. And I said to myself, you know what? This must be a soulmate relationship. And I said, I rather a soulmate relationship any day over a twin flame relationship, because it's calm, it's chill. And if you've met Rob, you know, he's just very calm and chill. So it's like, this is going to be cool. But what was funny, I'm blinking, is that Spirit brought it upon themselves to let us know we were a twin flame couple. We had, I had a reading by my friend Joseph Heron. I didn't know him at the time. I met him at a church in New Jersey, and we had to do readings on each other. And he brought through Rob's mom, who's on the other side. And she said, you are a twin flame couple. Now I can see and understand why it never worked out with anybody else and why you two needed to be together. Then John Holland hopped off the stage and came and stood in front of me and Rob and pointed out our relationship and said, this is a special relationship. The energy here is amazing. This is what true love looks like. And then we also had Rob's stepfather, who passed, come to me through John Holland On stage, he even said his name and everything and said, again, this is a twin flame relationship. So it was interesting, the dynamics about that. So I'm going to speak to you about twin flame relationship from my own personal point of view, because I know there's a lot of people out there saying, this is what it is, but they're not in a twin flame relationship. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it. And then I will open up the floor for you guys to ask questions. Okay. So the twin flame relationship is interesting because I've been in it now for 5 years, and it is one of the hardest relationships I've been in my entire life. Because this person is not just committed to their own soul growth, this person is committed to your soul growth, and this person is also committed to the community's soul growth. That's a lot of commitment. So sometimes it gets overbearing. Honestly and truthfully, it gets overbearing because you just want to relax. You just really want to go to the beach and have a beer and not think about anything. But in a twin flame relationship, it's not that easy, because either you are focusing about the growth of your community, or your partner is focusing on the growth of the community, or you both are focusing on your own growth, or you both are focusing on each other, on each other's growth. It's like exhausting. Okay. We trigger each other a lot. And the funny thing is like in other relationships, you might see something about a person, you'd be like, that's just who they are. That's not good enough in a twin flame relationship. You have to point it out. You have to examine it. You have to put it under a microscope. You have to say, do you really want to be here? Would you like to elevate from this? And the other person the whole time is like losing their patience with you and saying, leave it alone. Stop picking at it. Stop picking at it. That is what a twin flame relationship is like. And yes, I'm making it as extremely uncomfortable for you to hear, so you understand it's not something you really want. Okay. It's not something you really want. But here's what I'll tell you. Our love is strong and our love is there for each other. But more than anything, our love for our work comes first. Our love for our work comes first. So if you are a person who needs a lot of attention, a twin flame relationship will not be for you. If you are a person who needs constant, what they call it, affirmations, and you need your person to make you feel secure and safe, that's not going to happen. Okay. Because they are also taking care of the community as they're taking care of themselves, as they're taking care of you. So it's very much an autonomous relationship. When you get together, yes, I'll just answer it because I'm hearing it. The sex is amazing. Okay. We've gone through timelines with sex. Okay. We've literally jolted into another timeline and seen each other in different timelines. It's amazing. But that's not all a relationship is. The driving cause of a twin flame relationship is the need to make a difference in the community before we die. Because we have that understanding that we're going to go to the next place together, and we understand that as souls, we're going to find each other. So there's no deep need to be together all the time, because you have that inner knowing we're together all the time. We're always together. So why do we need to be together all the time when we already know this? We've been traveling for many lifetimes. So there's like definitely more personal responsibility in a twin flame relationship. There's definitely more focus on the work. A lot of times people would say to me and my partner, you guys need to take a break. And even I'm like laughing because even when we're on break, we're going to the beach in 2 weeks. And even when we go, we're still doing like a spirit chat from the hotel room. We can't stop. And here's the thing, we're not going to judge ourselves for that, because the truth is the love of what we do comes first. And then each other, and then our children, and then our community and whatever else, right? But the love of the work is what comes first. So that is a twin flame relationship. So when people ask me, can I get a twin flame relationship? Can I be in a twin flame relationship? This is what I tell them. If your desire is to serve your community and be of service, then yes, you have a very strong chance of attracting someone who also desires to be of service to the community. And you both you'll find each other. You really will. But if that's not your goal, then you may not be looking for a twin flame relationship. You may be looking for a soulmate relationship. Because if in your mind, you're thinking, I'd love to go to work. Like if you compartmentalize, if you think I'd like to go to work, and then I'd like to attend my spiritual development classes, and then I would like to go hang out with my friends, and then go on vacation with my boyfriend or girlfriend. You are looking for a soulmate relationship. Does that make sense? Are you guys following me? Because you're not looking so much to change the world and dedicate your whole life in service to it. You're looking to have a well-rounded, balanced life and to have this person enjoy that balance with you. There is no right and wrong here, guys. Okay. Because I'll tell you, when I met my partner, I thought he was here to be a soulmate and I willingly accepted him. I ran to him because after all the drama I've been through with karmics and false twins and everything else, I was just very happy to have somebody in my corner that loved me and supported me. Little did I know that this man would step up and become a big part of the community himself and have his own following, right? So it is okay if you want to be in a soulmate relationship. And guess what? It is even okay if you're enjoying a karmic relationship right now. And how do we know the karmics? It's unhealthy. It's on again, off again, on again, off again. You know, they don't claim you. You know, you might act like a girlfriend to them, but you're really like the side chick. You know, it's all the drama. I'm still saying that's okay too, because at some point the soul is going to get tired. And the soul is going to say, I'm done with this. I'm ready to evolve. I'm ready to move on to the next thing. And then that karmic relationship will just easily wash away. Oh, I have some comments coming in. Okay, so Cassandra says, it sounds like a good plan. I've actually avoided relationships for a long time so as not to interfere with my spiritual work. As with regular relationship, you can end up spending too much energy on one person that can interfere with spiritual commitment if you're not in sync. And Rachel said the situationships. Yeah. And the funny thing is when you're living your life, relationships find you, you don't have to find the relationship. Because out of the 30 relationships I've been in, I've maybe initiated 5 of them. Whenever I go through a breakup, this is what I do. I take time to work on myself. I heal myself. I do a lot of self-care, and then I bump myself back up spiritually. And I find my happy place. And then when I'm in my happy place, here's what happens. Your light shines so bright that people around you can't help but notice your light. So every single time I get out of a relationship, there's always some Mr. New coming along, attracted to my light. And I remember there was one year I had to take a year off from dating. It was when I was volunteering with AmeriCorps in Philadelphia. I was an HIV prevention specialist and I had to test people for HIV. It was very harrowing for a 20-year-old. But I had to literally say, I just want a year off from dating because literally every single time I got out of a relationship, somebody else was coming along. Somebody else was coming along. And even when I was off, there was so many gorgeous men in Philadelphia that were trying to hit on me and give me their numbers. And it was so hard to say no because, you know, you get excited. You're like, this is going to be fun. But I did. I dedicated a whole year to not being in a relationship. And here's what I'm going to say about relationships. They're good. They're good because you learn a lot about yourself, about that person, and about people in general. I think, honestly, this is what makes me, in my eyes, a really good coach and a really good healer and a teacher and a mentor, because I've been in so many relationships. I understand that it's not just my point of view. Everybody has a point of view and you have to listen. You have to learn how to hold space and how to listen to hear what that person is saying. Stevie says, I swear you're talking about my life. And Rachel always makes me laugh. Yes, she does. Oh, hi, YouTube. Let's see what's going on here. Karmic. Yes, we know that, Katrina. So true. Just ended another karmic relationship that lasted 12 years. Oh yes, the Mr. New guy. Yeah, and they'll keep coming in. The relationships will be there. So before I move on to the next thing, if anybody on Zoom wants to unmute and just share a little bit about what you think so far, or anybody in YouTube want to write something, let me take some comments before I go into the next thing, which is how to attract relationships.
So like, as you were talking about each one, you can kind of like pinpoint different relationships in your life that would all qualify to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as you were talking about the karmic, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Oh gosh.
Yeah. And that's the fun part of it, is that, you know, what I really like to do is I like to have humor a lot. So for me, it's like, if I'm really sad and, you know, listen, it would be really terrible to think that my life was a failure because I've been in 30 relationships, you know, it like, and that's a line that people can take. They could be like, you know what? Oh my gosh, I must be a failure because I've been in and out of these relationships. I remember there was a time in my life about 10 years ago when all my friends from high school, they've been married like forever. They married their high school sweethearts. So like everybody was hitting that 20-year like anniversary mark. And I'm like, holy crap, 20 years with one person. That's interesting. And everybody was posting it on social media, like, oh, happy 20th anniversary and this and that and the other. And I was kind of like, no, it was 10 year because it was 10-year anniversary. I was like, wow, 10 years with one person. So then I wrote in and I said, no, it was 20 years. They've been with one person in 20 years. And I wrote in and I said, you know what? Happy anniversary to me. I've been with 20 people in 20 years, and those are all anniversaries as well. So you have to find the humor in things, you have to find the humor. Katrina said, a great point. Working on your own light is something that should never stop. Even when you're in a relationship, the right partner will not try to hold your light back. That's a really good point, because the one thing I've noticed is that when people get in relationships, their spiritual life takes a back seat. And that's when you have to be honest with yourself and think about this and say, am I doing these spiritual development classes to achieve something? Because to me, the spiritual path is forever. It's ongoing. There's always many layers that you can unpack. I like to call us little onions, right? And we keep peeling back the layers. And in the layers, we're able to find that beauty of us, that essence of who we truly are. So if you say you get that job and then you stop on your spiritual practices, or you get that relationship and you stop, then you want to think to yourself, what am I really doing on the spiritual path? What was this all about for me? What was it just to achieve something tangible? Or do I really believe and understand that the soul is limitless? And I'm really interested in uncovering that unlimited potential within myself. Right? So that was really good, Katrina. 5-year cycle, Stevie. Jenny says, that's us high school sweethearts. Hasn't been easy by any means, but also has been an amazing journey. Soulmate connection and comforting. We better each other by being independent and supportive. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, because if I had a choice, I would have chosen a soulmate relationship. A soulmate relationship is very supportive. It feels warm. It feels good. They're here to better themselves. You're here to better yourself. You're here to better each other. And that's pretty much where the energy lies, right? Nothing wrong with that. I would have loved that. Twin flame relationship is really hard. It's really hard. Now, one of the things I've seen in the community is they talk a lot about the runner chaser. And if you haven't heard this term, it's what's applied to twin flames, that the reason why twin flames can't get together is because somebody's always running, somebody's always chasing. That's called a codependent relationship. It's the best way I can put that. And we need to be very careful about this, because a lot of times we do have codependency, right? We have broken root chakras because we didn't have stability in our lives growing up. We might have been the product of a single parent household, or we might have been a product of a household that had both parents, but were fighting all the time, or one parent was dating a very unhealthy partner. So we grew up with that. And then when we see that, and then we find a relationship that feels good, then we fight tooth and nail to keep the relationship. But that's codependency. Because again, it's not owning your power and owning who you are. It's depending on somebody else's power to make you feel good and to look good, right? So we have to be aware of these little things within ourselves that we do. Because the truth is when you start wanting to attract spiritual love, you go less off of feelings. My partner and I, we talked about that, because our exes, both of us, he has an ex and I have an ex, our exes brought out these really visceral, body, tangible feelings in us. I would see my ex and my heart would start racing and my palms would get sweaty. He had that reaction on me, and the same thing for my partner and his ex. And when we got together, we don't get that. We're kind of like, we feel like, the best way I can describe it to you, when I see my partner smile, it's like ice cream melting. Okay. It's just it just feels very, very nice. It feels beautiful. And that's why every now and then, if you catch us, you'll see us smiling at each other, because it's the same for him. But it's not that tingling and antsy and, anxious feeling. It's just a very cool feeling. And I remember we had a problem with this the first year we started dating because we noticed the lack of that like animalistic energy. And we were like, what if we're not like, what if we're not meant to be together? And I, of course, the anxiety when I'm like, what if like we're just supposed to be friends? And he, always profound, said, what if we've never had spiritual love? And I was like, oh, yeah, because I'm pretty sure in all my life, I've never really had a spiritual love like this. So then we allowed ourselves to ease into it, and then it just grew. It became like magnanimous in the feelings that we could experience with each other. But they weren't like those scary death or dying or terrifying feelings or loss, like, feeling of loss. And that's why you hold on even more. It was just very sweet and etheric, if you will. So let's see. I've only been in a few relationships, but they were all karmic. I've been told I was an assassin in some life. Oh, I've had a false twin flame too. What you see is what you bring into your own relationships. Yeah, absolutely. The thing is like, if you're looking to attract spiritual love, this is what you have to do. You have to put yourself first. You have to put yourself first. And you have to be committed to your spiritual path, because your spiritual partner is just as committed to their spiritual path. Okay. I remember there's days I would call my partner and be like, hey, do you want to do da 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 da? And he'd be like, no, I was thinking about going out in the lake and meditating and spending time with nature. I'm like, okay. You just gave up on a day with me to be out in the lake with God. Okay. But that's how they are, it's not about so much the relationship. It's again about their self-evolution. So if you want to attract that kind of partner, then you have to do your spiritual work, right? You have to elevate yourself to that level. And it's hard because, it's hard for me to say that because I see a lot of spiritual teachers who are single and who want a relationship. So when you're at that level as a spiritual teacher, you might think I'm doing my spiritual work, but technically you don't have to be. You can be teaching the classes and sharing your knowledge. Spirituality is inner. You have to do the inner work within yourself and address those things within you that need addressing, right? So if you are like a great meditator and, great healer and great psychic and all this great stuff, but you still want a relationship and you don't have a relationship, that's when you look into yourself and say, what am I missing here? What am I missing here? I remember when me and my partner got together, it's interesting, our exes broke up with us at the same time. It was really cool. It was October 2014. Him and his ex finished and me and my ex finished. And the funny thing was, we didn't go out there looking for people. We didn't go out on dating websites. We didn't go telling the whole community, we're free now, we're broken up. What we both did, interestingly enough, was we both hunkered down and healed ourselves. He was in pain, I was in pain, but we didn't know. And the funny thing was, we were friends. So you would think that we'd call each other and say, hey, I just went through a breakup, can you come spend time with me or hang out? No, we didn't. We just hunkered down. And at that time, I was finishing my book, The Awakened Life, and he was finishing putting the details on his signature program called the Your Path, Your Journey 5-week transformational life coaching program. So we were both like very much in our work and not really interested in looking for love and all that kind of stuff. And then it was in November, my friends and I were going out. And I said, you know what? Yeah, let's go out. I haven't been out in a while. Let's go out. And I was like, let me call my partner. And I did. And I was like, we're going out. Do you want to come out? And he's like, yeah, actually, I do want to come out. So he came out. And I, again, didn't know that they were broken up. So he said, how are you and my ex? And I said, oh, we're no longer together. He's like, oh. I'm like, how are you and his ex? He's like, oh, we're no longer together. We're like, oh. He's like, well, let's hang out some more. I'm like, sure. And then we started hanging out. And then in January, we became like an official couple. But what was interesting about all of that was that we were right in front of each other's eyes, but we didn't even see each other because we were in front of each other's eyes for 4 years. We were friends for 4 years before we were able to actually see each other. Right. And then we got together in January 2015. And then that was that, all of life changed for us. So the thing is you don't have to look for love. You just have to be committed to you and your path, and that person will find you. They always do. Now, understand that they will find you based off of your energy. Because I remember I was in traffic and I had this tall, gorgeous Moroccan man fight traffic to get to my car to give me his business card so I can call him. Worst mistake of my life. But you know what? It was fun. Okay. It was fun for the little time that it was. But what was I attracting then? I was attracting him on a very basic level because he was tall, he was gorgeous, he was Moroccan. You know, it is what it is. We're allowed to have those feelings too. So what you attract to you is where you are. And I think Roni said that in the YouTube chat. She said, yep, what you see is what you bring into your own relationships. So if you're desiring a spiritual love relationship, the beautiful thing is that you actually have a whole list of matchmakers on your side, and they're from above and they're working on your behalf. So all you have to do is you just have to be true to your spiritual path. And you have to say, okay, I'm going to keep doing me and working on me. And then that person is going to find me. Okay. All right. So any questions? Yes. And Deborah said, and they're free of charge. You don't have to pay a matchmaker. They're absolutely free of charge. I know this sounds like really easy, but I'm telling you, I've been in over 30 relationships. I've been dating since I was 10. Okay. And I have to tell you, I've loved every single one of them. My first boyfriend was Brazilian. His name was Janio. And he just rocked my world at 10 years old because he held my hand. That was it. That was the extent of our relationship. He held my hand. And one time he kissed me on the cheek and I died and went to heaven. But I love the fact that I can look back on all these beautiful relationships. And I just have a little, like a nugget of gold from each of them. Some of them ended traumatically, of course, that's life. Most of them ended well, where I'm still friends with most of them. The thing is like when you go into relationships, whether it's karmic or spiritual or lust-based, you have to go in with the knowledge that this can end. If you go in saying, this is the one, this is my soulmate, we're going to last, then you've now put yourself in a jail cell. And now you have to manipulate all the things to make this thing work, if that makes sense. Okay. So you have to have ease and flow. You have to have ease and flow. My current partner and I, we've talked about it a lot, because we're still growing and evolving. And he had asked me a long time ago, what happens if this doesn't work out? I say, we take the time to heal and then we come back together as friends. That's what we do. That's what we do. Because the truth is nobody knows what's going to happen in life. So the more that you can walk away from this feeling empowered, right? That your happiness doesn't depend on someone else or their moves or their non-moves, then you start to feel empowered and you start to say, I can just love this person for who they are. And then if they fail me in whatever kind of way, I can accept that too, because we're all human. We all make mistakes, but I can pick myself up and carry on. And I know that there will be somebody else coming for me, because if in my heart, my desire is truly to be in a relationship, I'm going to get that. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. I'm going to get that. But you can't stop the process. A lot of you might say, I've been wanting to be in a relationship forever, but I'm not in that relationship. Well, if you're still holding on to something that should have been dead, then spirit can't bring you the relationship that you really want. So you can't blame spirit at that point in time, right? If you're still holding on to an ex or the memory of an ex or the hope for an ex, or you do these like casual hookups from time to time with an ex, spirit can't bring you what you want, which is a clean start and a fresh field. So until you make that cut and you're like, okay, I'm done, I'm really ready for the next thing, then the healing has to occur and then spirit brings in the other person. But what you want to pay attention to is your fear of being alone. Because I'll tell you, in being in all the relationships I've been in, I have definitely felt alone, even though I was in a relationship. And how many of you can understand that, right? Yeah, Teresa's like, hand raise. A relationship doesn't bring you your happiness or makes you feel less lonely. In fact, sometimes being in a relationship can make you feel more lonely because that person is just not paying attention to your needs or not there for you or whatever else. So how do I end this? I end this by saying, you are your greatest love. And when you live from that place of love, people can't help but love you, soulmates included, right? It's like a light. It's this bright light that shines, and then people get drawn to you and they want to know more about you and they want to know. And then you're just kind of like, yeah, right? This is the awesomeness of me. You're welcome. Right? All right. Any questions, comments, anything you want to know about soulmates, love, relationships, anything?
I just want to say this has been very helpful for me because I've had a couple of readings that have talked about I'm going to find, my next relationship, and it's not going to be, all this passion. And I'm like, crap, I'm going to have this like passionless, boring relationship. But now I get it.
Yeah.
That it doesn't have to be that. That doesn't mean it's not good.
Yeah. It sounds like you've elevated. It sounds like you've elevated past the need for drama. And I still think there's going to be passion. My partner and I have lots of passion, but it's like a different kind of passion. The passion before with dramatic relationships was because we both were sensing the ending of it, right? That's why those relationships are so passionate, because they're short-lived. So it's like, you got to get it in. You got to get it in before it ends. So you're always racing against the clock. So I like your reading, actually, Deborah, because what it says to me is that when you get in a relationship, you wouldn't be pressed and or like running out of time, and you'll be able to just like enjoy your time with this person and not fear or worry about, will they leave? Will this end? It'll just be like really nice and interesting. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I get now.
Yeah. Wonderful. So Rachel says, the way I've always described my current relationship is we have our own path and our own journey, and we support each other on our paths, but we always come back together even stronger after our little segues. That's beautiful and perfect. That's exactly it. Because I've seen people like in relationships where they would be like, I got to ask my husband if I can go. Ask who, what? Okay. Ask who, what? I remember when I first started dating my partner in 2015, for the summertime, I went away to Omega for a week to learn under Brian Weiss. And actually, since he's dated me, I go off on my little vacations by myself without him, because this is my life. I've been living it before you got here, and I'm pretty much going to be living it if you're no longer around. So I love what you just wrote, Rachel, because I think that's a healthy part of relationships, is spending time away from each other. Because then when you come back together, you have like all these great stories and you have like fresh content to add to your relationship. It's not just the day in, day out. So that is wonderful. All right. So if nobody has any questions for me, then I will go ahead and end this. YouTube, thank you for following me and checking in. I did post a link in the comment section, YouTube, about the Lotus Academy. Please feel free to check it out. It's only $33 until April 30th next year. So you get like 11 months for $33. And we have a lot of fun in there. I'm about to go over there now. For those of you that are in the LAT group, I'm going there now to do your daily reading for the morning. And I'm feeling to do the Work Your Light deck, because we were having fun with that last night. Okay, you're welcome, guys. Thank you again so much for joining. And